So I just had a conversation with my legal mentor, who's I've been studying the legal system with for the last 2.5 years. And we talked about trauma and the nature of trauma on the body and the mind and the spirit, but bringing that into a place of deep understanding of the present moment, and knowing that in the present moment, at least understanding the present moment, bringing the awareness into the present moment, can alleviate all traumas that have happened before in your life, because they have no precedent over the present moment. But there was one caveat that I actually discovered myself through talking to her about this, and that was last week. I had some energetic work with one of my practitioners, Richard Rust, here in Wellington, and we did some work around a particular pattern and trauma in my body that came from the moment when my mother and my father had sex to create the avatar that I, the awareness, the consciousness, am in this avatar, right? So I don't associate my consciousness, my spirit, my soul, whatever you want to call it, as being this body. This body is an avatar that I'm using, a lens that I'm experiencing this reality, this dimension in. It's a meat suit that it's a biological computer that I am inhabiting in order to be able to experience this reality through the 5 senses and beyond the 5 senses, with all the other senses that come with more subtle, energetic reverberations, intentions, and feelings, and experiences, and affirmations of what the body is capable of doing as we move through the ascending Yuga Dwapara cycle. As we ascend through the Yuga cycles, what the body becomes able to do due to the nature of the energetic matrix that comes into the simulation as we move into an ascending cycle, the body becomes, due to the nature of the reverberations coming from Alcyone into our sun and then projected into our energetic field, we are able to attain what we consider to be, in the past, considered to be magical powers. But they're not magical. Everyone's had them. But once you enter into an ascending cycle, in regards to the cosmic chakra, your body has the ability to attain and to be able to utilize deeper levels of perception and also deeper levels of connection to the cosmic cycle, and therefore you are able to move in reality in a very different way, especially if you move from your heart vortex and you connect to Prime Creator, First Cause, God, through your heart vortex. You have a very different experience if you connect from your head or your gut or your genitals or your feet. You have a very different experience. Anyway, back to where I was before. When Tracy and I were talking, I had this one massive epiphany, because the nature of the connection that I had with Richard and the work I was doing with him, when he told me there's an energetic mainframe, there's an energetic trauma around the moment that your avatar was created during the sexual coitus between your mother and your father. There was an energetic trauma that happened there, and the effect of that trauma on your body, because I had not, as awareness, as spirit, had not come into the body, because the moment of the zygote, when the zygote is actually created for the body to begin to form and grow, before that happened, of course, I wasn't inhabiting this body, but the body was being created, right? So the trauma that happened during the sexual act, whatever that looked like, he told me, and energetically there was a reverberation, like a pond, a flat pond, and a stone being dropped into the middle of the pond. The reverberations of the energetic waves in that pond have had an effect on the body as it's grown to this point where it is now 52 years of age, I guess you could say, or in my perception, it's had 52 cycles around the sun, right? So this body, for that whole time, the intelligence of the body itself, because it has its own intelligence, and of course the body's really less than 10% human, man or woman DNA. The rest of it's microbes, bacteria, microbiome, parasites. It's a number of energies and creatures and energies and organisms living together symbiotically. The trauma of that affair, of that moment, has been playing itself out as a pattern through the body, reverberating through the body since I came into it, and I have not been aware of this. So for me, the body has its own intelligence, or intelligences, that all come together, hopefully in a very aligned, in a very symbiotic way. But my intelligence, my awareness, my consciousness, which has come in regards to the form of spirit in this body, when it came into this body, as it does, I think, due to the nature of the cycle that we're in, even though we are ascending in the Dwapara cycle, it did not come into the body and also become aware of what the body's traumas had been before it incarnated. And if it did, in my conscious mind, I have not been aware of the trauma and the pattern of this trauma in my body's growth cycle over the last 52 years. So thanks to Richard and his energetic work, he said there's a trauma here from this moment of coitus, even before conception of the zygote, even before fertilization, the sexual energy between my mother and my father in the experience of creating this body. There's a trauma there, and it's played itself out through the creation and the growth of this body. And as an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg being the conscious mind, but in the subconscious mind, this has been hiding out down there and playing itself out through my entire life experience in this body. Now my intelligence, my awareness, which is having this symbiotic relationship with the organisms in this body, has not been able to ascertain what this trauma was, right? I haven't had the disclosure from my subconscious, from my body's intelligence to tell me the awareness in the body. This is getting totally esoteric, but it's awesome. My intelligence in the body, my spirit, my awareness, my consciousness, has not had the conversation with my intelligence of the body to find out what this trauma was. And Richard's brought it to my conscious mind through the work he was doing energetically, and now the conversation has to be had to my mother and me. My father's been passed away for over 20 years. So my mother and I have to have, that's the correct grammar, my mother and I have to have a conversation at some point, bring up a topic around the nature of the sexual connection that they had when my body was going to be created, right? And this is deep, man. This is deep. And this is also can go into many levels of healing if you look at this and understand the nature of what I'm saying here. The body's intelligence and your intelligence are two different aspects, and you're having a symbiotic relationship between your biology, your genetic computer, and your awareness, your spirit, your soul, your true self. Your awareness, your consciousness is having a symbiotic relationship with this growing biological computer that you are occupying in this reality, to experience it as a lens, to experience this dimension. But most people do not have the ability or do not understand, and this is my perception, I'm not saying this is how it is, the perception that your body has an intelligence all of its own, and you have many organisms with their intelligences hopefully aligning in a way to give you optimal health, right? And then of course there's your awareness, your consciousness within the avatar, which needs to have that conversation with your biology, with your biological computer and all the organisms within that biological computer, to have those conversations so you can align in a way that can have the optimum health, the optimum perception of reality, and the optimum experience in the avatar that you're in this reality. So therefore you can align with the ascending Dwapara cycle, because we're going to be in the Dwapara cycle for the next over a while. The end of the Dwapara cycle, which is the Bronze Age, ends in 4099 AD. So you're going to be in this body for the ascending Dwapara cycle until you leave it behind. But to be able to get the most out of the ascending Dwapara cycle, I think it's pretty prescient to be in the present moment, to be self-aware enough that you need to have a conversation between your consciousness and your biological computer, your body, and the organisms within that biological computer. Have a conversation, have constant conversations and constant levels of awareness with each other, so you have a symbiotic relationship with this biological computer. And you look at this is the micro version of the macro version. And the macro version goes from the biology and the awareness within the biology, the avatar, to the planetary consciousness and the life stream of the planetary consciousness, and then into the cosmic chakra cycle of our solar system as it moves through our galaxy, and then out from there into the multiverse, the universe, and so on and on and on and on and on it goes. So this is the onion, and this is the middle of the onion, right? We're talking about the biological computer, and the spirit within the biology, the essence, the soul, the piece of God, the piece of Brahma in the body, in the avatar, that is activating the avatar, and the conversations we need to have, potentially, in my perception anyway, we need to have with the biology to understand the patterns that might be limiting in regards to our experience of being in the Dwapara, the ascending Dwapara cycle. To understand and come to a place where we can have the optimum experience moving through the Dwapara cycle in our biology, and know that there are patterns potentially, there are limitations, there are traumas that could be stopping us from having the optimum experience being in our avatars as we move through the Dwapara cycle, the Bronze Age, and ascend up towards a Golden Age, which is about 12,000 years away from where we are now. But now is the time to have that awareness. At the moment is to have that awareness, but understand the nature of all that came before this moment. If we connect to from the heart vortex to Prime's creator, to first cause, to God, through the heart vortex, that love from Prime Creator, from first cause, can take us back through our entire existence in our avatars and heal all the traumas that we've had up until this moment. Can heal them all by being present in the present moment. Being in the present moment, that can bring the alignment together from the heart vortex to heal all those traumas, and all those patterns can have no effect and have no power over our decisions, over our lives, over our creations and manifestations, moving forward from the moment, moving into the next moment. Boy, oh boy, I hope that makes sense. But a pretty wild realization that I had today. I'm happy to share it with you. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Mā te oa. I'll see you again soon.